everybody. This is Elizabeth Mutasa on ELYOPE Accessibility and Inclusive Designs for Empowered Living. Today we have our lovely guest who is Rebecca Mongani and my mom, a grandma and a daughter. So this is going to be exciting because this is the first time that I have her on the platform and that you guys get to meet her in person virtually, and just get to know a little bit more about her and where I'm from and how this lovely woman here was created. And I'll give it to you, Rebecca. So can you just introduce yourself to the audience?
Hi, everybody. Hello. My name is Rebecca Mungani. I'm Elizabeth's mother, really. I was born in a family of 5 boys and 1 girl. And I've got my 2 daughters, Elizabeth and Edna. So, and the granddaughter, Abigail. That's me.
Can you tell us a little bit more? Because what people want to know is they keep hearing me talk about this big family, because that's one of the things that stand out in a lot of the conversations I have when I say, well, growing up, we actually grew up in a big family household. It wasn't just me and Edna. It was actually a whole group of people. And at one point, I remember it very well, where we had to lay our plates on the floor because we were so many and we had to eat dinner in the morning because we were 18 of us. So we had to lay our plates on the floor to have dinner. So that's what people want to know. They don't want to know about just the biological sisters. They want to know who was part of this family, what was going on. So please, can you tell us a bit more about that time and how you became this mother to the nation and now a grandma, because I know you have so many grandkids everywhere. So can you tell us a bit more about that?
Okay, that's true. Yeah. What I can just start by saying, really, for a child to learn something, it has to start from somewhere. So for myself, I can start by thanking also my late mother. It's not like want this thing to be a biblical thing, but I can just like relate to what my mom kept repeating to me when I was growing up, because I was the only girl. So there's this Proverbs 22 verse 6, which says, you have to train your child the way you want your child to go. Even when your child is older, you will not depart from that. So from my mom telling me her own history about herself being also looked after by somebody, for me, gave me that I can say it builds me to what I am. Because it's like I could look at each and everything and I'm like, okay, my mom didn't even say, you are a boy, you are a girl in our family. A boy can wash the plates, a girl can go and look after the kettle. So we were just doing everything. So my mom got ill at a very early stage in such a way that myself, I tended to look after somebody when I was 9 years old. So in that way, my mom started empowering me. She was teaching me how to knit. She was teaching me how to sew the clothes when they are torn in such a very young age. And that way, I thought when she was doing it, I didn't have any clue of what she was doing, but I just she wanted me to do the job. And when she was like, oh, you have to learn how to prepare the formula, I could go happily prepare the formula and then come look after my brother, because herself, she was diagnosed with cancer soon after birth. And that time I was 9 years old. So I would just run around and do all the house chores when she's telling me to do that. But within that, I developed to know that you have to share, you have to work with each other. So in that way, when my mom passed away, it was a thing which I didn't even drag to say, I can't take care of somebody or I can't take care of my brother. He is now over 40 years old. I didn't drag on that. So I kept on, and no one came even to say they were going to look after my brother. I kept on looking after my brother at that age. And to me, that's where I just said to myself, if I manage to do it for my brother at that age, why can't I continue doing it? And to say the truth, in that time, which you are talking, Elizabeth, about when you were 18, 17, whatever, 20 something, it was not something which I would say those children which I was staying with were happy or they were happy to be looked after by me. No, it was me being happy. It was more about me. I was happy with what I was doing because for me, I could look at myself and I could thank myself and I could be very happy with myself that, yes, I can do it. Yes, this is what I have done. But I didn't even look far as what you are doing now to say, how were you doing it? And I think I even said the very day I listened to you talking about it, I was like, so did that thing, what I was doing, the way I was doing, did it make my children learn something from it? But then I went back to that verse which my mom used to tell me. And then I'm like, okay, so my mom, when she was doing this to me, it means to say, I passed it on to my children unknowingly because all what I was doing, for me, I just looked at all of you and said, each and every person is a human being. Each and every person has got a right to live. Each and every person should be respected like a person. All about empowering. I loved it because my mom was like, if you don't have formula, just ask if there's somebody who needs who has got a torn trouser or torn dress, because she used to have a sewing machine, and she taught me how to sew at that age, and I could charge and say, you can give me 10 cents or you can give me 20 cents on that thing. And when I have that money, I'll run and buy the formula and come and feed my brother. So for me to have 18, 20 people, for me it was so easy because it was like me, it's me who is enjoying doing it. And I really liked doing that. And it was more about me.
And was that because obviously you were from a bigger family? Because I know, as far as I understand, Grandpa had a polygamous relationship. It was more like a homestead type of living where each and every woman that he had bedded, he would bring home, and the person would be part of the family, and everybody is welcome. And it was just this big family. So in a way, you were raised in such a household. So it just made sense to then continue that because you just felt the need to keep bringing more people in. But having touched that, because you then became a carer at such a young age, where you had to learn to be more of you had to grow up. You had to grow up quite quick, as well as your mom being sick and having a young sibling to look after. How did you manage the stress that comes with that? Because I can imagine having had time as well, like when you guys moved to UK and we were left in Zimbabwe with the rest of the family, but I still had this feeling that I also, in a way, became a carer because I was now at such an age where I was kind of responsible for these young kids. And in my mind, I'm going, oh, this is so much. And I literally, I think you remember very well, I actually wore this smothering cap where I felt this responsibility that I have to look after people. And as such, for me, I think I was now a teenager, but for someone who is 9, how did you even have time to actually go, but I'm still a child? Or did you just take this role on and just ran with it? Like, did you have time to?
To say the truth, I couldn't think about that because it was like more when my mom was ill. She could call me and she could tell me to say, you know what, I cannot do this, I cannot do that, but I know you can do it. So for me, I took it to say, my mom is trusting me you know, how the young child will feel as a child. And for me, it was not like I could now refer to it like it was child labor. I wouldn't refer it to that because my mom was showing me a lot of love.
Yeah.
She was showing me a lot of love, and she would explain to me, when you do that, you do it this way. When you want to do it this way, you do it that way. And come, I'll show you. So a lot of things which she was showing me, I was doing it in such a way that I was really, really into it. I learned how to knit at a very young age. I learned how to crochet at a very young age, and all those things. I really loved them because the way my mother was doing it for me, she was doing it in such a way that I was proud of her and I was really loving her. And up to now, whenever I look at even the way I was, like, you know, you always say, Mom, there is a big difference between me and Muta. It's true, there was a very difference because for me, for you, I was just like, she's a girl. She can do that. She can do this. She can do that. And for me, I was just thinking to say, that's the way which I have to prepare you. Even when my mom had someone who was helping us to work or getting paid when helping us, but my mom didn't differentiate from me and that person. No.
Yeah.
We were all the same. So for me, it was like an inclusion of each and everybody will be included in it and will have respected and should have a say in whatever the person has to do.
Yeah.
So I was just looking after my mother, and I didn't even feel anything. And when I was even going with my mother to all the hospitals I was going, I was really happy because I would look at the nurses and I would be like, wow, one day it will be me in that white dress and I'll be taking care of everybody here. And I'll be just making sure that they are clean, they get their medication, they get everything. For me, I took it as something which was even motivating me. And even when I was growing up, all my mind was like, Rebecca, you are a nurse by nature. Rebecca, you are a nurse by nature. And that's all what, even now, I always laugh with people to say, give me even somebody who is unwell, even in the bush, even in the tree, even under whatever. I can do it. And I find it
I know. I know, because I always say you're like one of those nurses in the war zone because you're able to tackle anything. You don't need the hospital. You can handle anything anyway.
I don't I put a lot of Rebecca's out there. I remember when I was in Zimbabwe, you could just meet someone with a pregnancy, and I'll just be there and I'll deliver the baby. And there I'll leave that person. I'll meet somebody who is unwell. I don't even care whether the mother, whatever, I'll take the child to hospital and I'll tell them when I'm there. So even in here, I'm like, when people are like, but whoa. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm very sorry.
I know. And this is the thing. I think as what you're saying about you having to look after your mom and then really feeling that responsibility to also want to look after people, like because you'd done it and you'd seen how the staff from hospital was also doing it, and then you just felt that you wanted to continue this, and people that were in your family just felt like they were part of it as well. And that definitely transferred to us without obviously your awareness that that was happening. Because
No.
then, as you continued nursing even those kids who didn't have parents, even those kids who had parents, but the parents wouldn't be able to look after them. You wanted to just play your role in looking after, I mean, mother of the nation, really, where everybody had a room in your house. Like that was literally what was going on. As much as we were sleeping on top of each other, but you made sure that we all had access. Honestly, like you made sure that even in that house where it wasn't big enough to hold 18, but you made sure that we all had that love. You made sure that no one felt above the other. You made sure that we understood the value of family, of being together, of doing this together. No one left behind. And I always laugh because I remember when people would wake up around 5 a.m. and I hated it because you were like, I do not care if you are my child, if you are not. I do not. Everybody's going to farming. I'm like, oh, this woman. Let me sleep. They're like, you hold your hoe, you hold your hoe, you hold your hoe. We're going. Have your sons, we're going. Oh God. That honestly, that time I used to not like it at all. I hated it. I was like, I can't believe she's making us wake up at this hour of the night, of the morning, and asking us to go to do some hoeing and planting and whatever. But now, as I look back, really, you were planting seeds in us. Because then what I found out as we were talking, I mean, we now have businesses. Like we're all those kids, we're all now grown-ups. And like I said, you're now like this grandma, this grandma that has grandchildren all over the place. When we talk about it now, as we do our business, like conference calls and everything, we realize we all had this shared vision because we were all eating from the same pot. So it's like we truly valued how you made sure we all felt like we belonged, how you made sure that we had access to education, to basic needs, to just that family where everybody, like as much as there was chaos, but that house was full of love. Like I remember it being called the pink house. Yeah, because we had lots of girls, but we had boys too. But it was such a loud house that everybody knew about this house. And we had so many parties. It was like almost every weekend we were just having fun. It was honestly, and just the thought of all those moments, how it then built all of us. I mean, all of us are still in touch. Obviously, there's some that have passed on, but it's one of those things where now when we all look back and how it has shaped our lives, how even some of us have gone to have children's homes, to have big families of their own, to now even thinking about having a whole international business around this. Just thinking from such a humble home, we can bring this to a bigger platform. How can we transfer? How can we use what we all learned in this small house, but with a big heart? How can we transfer that to a global platform where a lot of what's happening in the world at the moment is about this separation? It's about, oh, this is what's happening there, this is what's happening there. No one really is thinking about how can we integrate these different facets to make it connected, to make it one. And I love this philosophy on Ubuntu, which is I am because we are. Because that's exactly what was drilled in us. I am because we are. And we all grew up with that.
Yes.
So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So what I want you to also share with people, now it's making me a bit teary. What I want you to share with people as well is, I mean, of course, this we're talking of how we've all been shaped with the experiences that transpired over time. But I want you to tell people about Rebecca. I want to know more about what makes Rebecca tick. I mean, now you're in your 60s. You're looking amazing as ever. You're glowing. You have a really good life. And we just want to know what is it? What makes Rebecca tick? What is Rebecca doing these days? How is she keeping herself busy? Tell us a bit more.
Rebecca remains a great ma, and I'm being well known as Mbiaba Abi. It's a grandma, and Abigail is my daughter. And
granddaughter. Stop claiming my child.
Granddaughter. Granddaughter. So I'm a person who likes to chat with other people or to share any information which I have got. I like sharing, really, which I always do. I've got a lot of groups which I participate in sharing whatever we share. I have got also a group which I started when I find that our young people with HIV were struggling to just open up, even to friends, even to anybody. So I started that group myself, and in that group, I'll be calling like professionals to speak to them, and they can air their views. And also, I listen to their problems, especially when it comes to relationships. For those who are teenagers and starting to fall in love or whatever, I give them platform to ask any question, and then I'll listen to the questions, and then we can answer. And I also encourage them to accept their situation, and they should share and advise each other on how they cope with whatever is happening in their life. And I'm a family person. I like traveling, so I always like think of buying tickets with my family, and then we go and seeing my granddaughters, grandchildren, whatever. I go there. I like my work. I'm still working as a nurse, which I like so much. So I also like going to church and sharing whatever I can. And that's Rebecca. And Rebecca is somebody who really, really values a family. And I also value anyone who is a human being under this. I value the person. I value life of everybody. I love everybody. And I am there to share whatever I can share. And I'm the person who is always saying, I'm not always right. I might think something and I'm not right, but I prefer sharing, and I prefer someone to just teach me also what they know. I like empowerment, and I like empowering, and I like inclusion. I like to include everybody, and I like to be included also. So that's what makes me a bit happy each and every day. It's about myself.
I know. I remember you saying as well that, Elizabeth, the most important thing that you can do with your life if you want to be successful is your family. Once you know that you have imparted the wisdom, once you know that whatever that you have, you are sharing it with your daughter and you've done right by her, that's success.
Yes.
And even to this day, I hold that dearly, because I remember you doing that with us, and you said, even if I die today, I am already rich. And I laugh, and you're like,
Rich grandma.
and you're like, I'm already rich. And I'm thinking, what is this woman talking about? What does she mean she's already rich? And you said, no, I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about I have wealth because I have imparted the knowledge, the life skills in you guys.
Yes.
So I'm rich.
Yes.
And now when I look back, that is 100% true. Because a lot of times when people associate being rich, being wealth, it's about how much money, but they don't think about the wisdom, the life skills that are crucial, because a lot of problems that we end up facing as adults is because we didn't gain the life skills. Like there was more emphasis on academic skills, but not necessarily life skills. Like when you were talking about knitting, I can knit, and it's because of you. When you're talking about cooking, talking about doing all these other things, I have been able to do those things. And even with my daughter, I'm like, I want to impart that with her. I'm doing that for her too, because I don't want her to get to a stage when she's an adult and she can't do all these things because no one has taught her. So that definitely, I think that's wealth building right there. And I think a lot of people can learn so much from it. So I think what we're going to do is to round off what we've discussed. And thank you so much for coming on this platform and sharing this amazing story and sharing your take on what was happening when you were a kid, when you were growing up, and when you then had the big family, and then moving on to other things as now a grandma. Thank you so much. And if any viewers would like to know more about Rebecca, please just write in the comment section, and I will answer your questions. I think we're going to do a take 2 on this one, and a part two of this, where we'll probably be answering some of the questions that you guys might have for Gogo. We call her Gogo because Gogo is grandma, and she's a Gogo for a lot of kids. So we always call her Gogo. So thank you, Gogo. And we will see you around. And thank you so much for all the amazing work that you have done for us. All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right.